All right, everybody, we are back. It's Taped On Live. Favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders channel, favorite Raiders everything. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. You already guys already know what to do, right? Make sure you start getting some people in here. Stream going here. There we go. What up? What's up, everybody? Everybody feeling here a little bit. I mean, I was there, Storm. We'll talk about that a little bit. I was there. So we'll talk about it a little bit. So you remember her? In person. Whew. Man. I mean, the wide receivers and stuff like that, man. It is wide receivers are legit, guys. Real legit. That's all I gotta say. I know. I might as well move to Vegas. And yes, there was some Tyreek Gillespie as well, too. Tyreek Gillespie sighting. Some other people getting here. Well, I'm out here in Las Vegas covering training camp. I'll go tomorrow, too. I'll do Josh McDaniels' press conference at 7:45 in the morning. That's crazy. I don't know what they're doing. I know it's hot. But come on, man. I mean, I did it. I played high school football in Arizona. I mean, these guys can do it. They're babied out there, man. Their football practices, babies. It is crazy. That's the most relaxed practice I've ever seen. That's my first time watching it, an NFL practice live. My God, are they babied? Man, if high school football practice was like that, I think kids would probably play at a high level. I mean, you go out there and just have a light little practice. They ended with a slow walkthrough type of thing. Man, super relaxed practice. That's just in my opinion. I thought that was crazy, but there was some good periods of when they went super live. We'll talk about that. You guys get to your couple of questions. I know we want to talk about Leatherwood and the offensive line. So, I'll kind of get into that first. I'll say with the offensive line, I mean, there wasn't pads on today. So I really didn't get any one-on-ones or anything like that. So that kind of upset me. I was hoping to get some pads. So I came out here. I'm like, can I get some? I came out here, waited for pads. You know what I mean? And I got out here and there's no pads. So I was kind of mad about that. But, it's kind of hard to tell what exactly they're doing and how well they're playing when they don't have pads on. So it was hard for me to kind of get a grasp of that. Right. I will say a lot of it was hidden from the media too a little bit. So it was it was kind of, it kind of felt like I was the other team. I really feel like I was the Chargers or something. That's what they treated us. They treated the media like we were the Chargers or the Chiefs. So kind of players blocking off certain things. Right. So you can only get a little bit of an idea, but I will say for the alignments, right. When it really started to switch is when they were doing the run game stuff. Okay. And I will tell you guys, they ran mostly outside zone in the run game. Yeah. No, they had a day off yesterday. So it was interesting. Question right here. They had a day off. So I didn't understand it, but they ran a lot of outside zone. And I thought that was super interesting. It was mainly outside zone they were running with every single running back. Kenyon Drake ran it. Of course, Jacobs ran it a lot. They ran a lot of outside zone. So if you can imagine, I mean, that's probably designed around Josh Jacobs, in my opinion. But they did mix in some other running game, a lot of tosses. So, you said, I see something about Drake right there. They had a lot of tosses. All right. So there's a lot of crack tosses. So that's something you see Drake get on the outside if they do want to run Drake. I don't know how much running Drake is going to do, though, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I was kind of bothered by there's no pads. But with outside zone, It was a lot of that, a lot of tosses, but I did see a lot of some power, some counters, and stuff like that in the run game. So it's gonna be diverse. I still think it's gonna be matchup based, but it was a lot of outside zone, more than I was expecting. Maybe I guess I was expecting that much outside zone, but it was just a lot, man, a lot of outside zone, and so that was interesting. But that's when the line started switching up a little bit. So Mumford did get some reps with the first team at that moment, right? Not with the first team. I wouldn't say the first team. I'll say the second team when they were mixing it up a little bit. The main first team is Miller, Simpson, James, Cotton, Parker. When they went 11 on 11s and they were out there with Derek Carr, it was mostly those guys. That's who it is. All right. Those guys were out there. Thus the 5. I feel like that's probably the 5 going into the season at this point, because I don't know how much they're going to play in their preseason. We don't know about that, but that's probably the main 5. I'm gonna keep it on to you guys. Alex Leatherwood didn't get that many first team reps, and either did Dylan Parham. It wasn't like, I'll say this, it wasn't like a switch and switch type of thing. It would be like 10 reps to Parker, and then you'll get like a rep for Parham, or maybe if I'm exaggerating with 10, maybe 7 reps in a row with the first team, and then you would see some switching with Parham and them. But they're mostly backups, and Parham is the backup center, and but they're moving everything around. I'll be honest. As I said on Twitter, there's a time when Parker was at left tackle and Leatherwood was at right tackle too, right? But I'll admit, Leatherwood is a backup. There's no way you can look at it. If he is getting 13 reps, second team reps, he's a backup right now. He's a first round pick going into the second year, who's playing behind the third round pick that nobody would thought would still be on this team. That's you can't flip it any other way. I can't flip it any other way. Alex Leatherwood is a backup right now. And will Mumford play in front of him during the season? I don't know. Will he move to guard? They really like Lester Cotton, obviously, so he's going to play guard there. There's no other way around it. He is the backup right tackle. And it was like it was basically if like Miller gets hurt, Parker moved to left tackle, and then here comes Leatherwood playing right tackle. And that's kind of how they mix it up to get Parker those left tackle reps, just in case Miller goes down. Parker moves to left. Right? We can get trade. I don't know if they're going to trade him though. They're not going to trade him because I think they really like to get diverse with this line. So if Lester Cotton doesn't work out, they're going to throw Leatherwood out in there, right? If Brandon Parker doesn't work out, they're going to throw Leatherwood in there, and they're going to be quick to change it. That's one thing with this offensive line that I've noticed is they change really fast. They don't play around with bad line. So if it's 2 games, right? Brandon Parker goes out there and he's terrible for 2 games. Leatherwood's going to be playing. It's going to be a quick switch. They're not going to mess around with that. That's one thing about this team is adjustments. But Parker, he has been in the league longer, and he just might look better right now. He just might look better. But let me get some of you guys' questions before I start to move on and talk about some other things that I saw earlier. How's the online look? I kind of talk about that. Gillespie, he was actually working in kind of first, second team kind of look. Like, he was out there with Morag a couple times. So, he was getting some looks, but then something, I don't know what happened. Maybe he tweaked something. He really didn't play the rest of the practice. It was really early on in the early 7-on-7s. He was getting some looks. Darren Waller even basically, beat him deep on a go route. They actually had Waller lined up outside. He got Gillespie on a go route, but he was out there. He's out there with Morag and switching in for Abram. And he's playing down in the box and he's playing up high too. So he was getting some more looks than I was expecting for him to get. He was mixing it in with Harmon too. So Harmon was out there as well. So that was interesting to see Gillespie get those reps, in my opinion. The D tackles was hard to tell, man. I will say that one offensive lineman got put on the ground. I couldn't see who did it, but somebody bull rushed somebody, put them on the ground. I don't know who it was. I couldn't see, but if that gives you anything of how the defensive line was dominating out there. From what I could see, I saw Malcolm Kuntz had a good day, in my opinion. He was beating a lot of people. Even like, Brandon Parker, they're getting beat. Max Crosby was just dominant out there, man. Chandler Jones, he came out for stretches, but then left. So I don't know what's going on with him. I have to find out tomorrow with McDaniels. But defense tackle was legit, man. Kind of touched on leather. He didn't look out of place or out of shape, man. He just looked good. He looked good. The run game, I am excited because I think they have a chance to mix it up. With Zamir White, run some power, run some outside zone, and just to see that outside zone was cool. So, Zamir White, he looked really good in my opinion. He has a lot of bursts that I didn't see on tape. So I don't know if he just got lost some weight before all that, but all right, let's subscribe down here. All right, sorry guys, I'm keep going here. Any other questions before I talk about some other things? Let me see. All right, cool. All right, good question. How did the corners look? Actually, that's something I was really excited about. Is how the cornerbacks looked, right? I thought they played tough against some really, really good wide receivers, man. That's what I was really excited about, was seeing how good the wide receiver room is. I mean, even Demarcus Robinson looked like he's somebody that can make the team. They call him T Billy now. I was really impressed with him, man. He looks fast. He looks fast in and out of his breaks. Looks like he's been working on his routes. I don't know. I feel like that he has a real good chance to make this team if he has some good preseason. So I mean, there's some really good wide receivers out there, in my opinion. Because Keenan Cole, he's a good player too. Matt Collins, I mean, he had a couple drops today. That's my worry with him. He had some drops today in training camp. So, but the corners looked really good, I thought. Of course, there were some backups in there that kind of got burned a little bit, but Rock Ya-Sin, he looks legit, man. He looks legit. The play he made on Davante Adams, man. Davante Adams caught that ball. That was a nice pass on the fade in the red zone. It hit Davante Adams' hands right there. Carr put it right there. He knocked it out of his hands. So that was nice to watch, man. He looked really good. No lie. He looked really good. Anthony Averett, he looked good too. Amik Robinson, man. He is out there getting a lot of reps. He's getting a lot of reps. They're playing a lot of dime. So, there's a lot of cornerbacks out there, a lot of movement. Hobbs is moving inside and outside, right? That's one thing, if you watch Patrick Graham, sometimes Darnell Holmes is inside and then, Bradbury was outside and they switch it up. Everything is so versatile with him. You're going to see Hobbs outside on one play and then Meek Robinson playing slot on another. And then you see Hobbs in the slot and then Trayvon Mullen and Rock Ya-Sin outside. Or then you might see Anthony Everett. It's going to be so diverse with what they were doing because that's what they're doing. They're moving everybody around. But I will say, like, they had a distinct second team and a first team group. So, like, the first team group was like Amik Robinson, Nate Hobbs, Anthony Averett, and Rock Ya-Sin, right? And, of course, Trayvon Mullen might mix in there, but I feel like that might be the main cornerback group that you see out there. And I was excited about all that, man. I was excited about to see how that looked because that's something I was worried about was the secondary. I didn't get too much safety play. There was a miscommunication in the back end on one of the red zone touchdowns, but, it was really hard for me to tell exactly what was going on in that stuff. So, that's what I really liked about it. They looked like they were picking it up pretty good. I mean, there wasn't any mistakes from like the wide receivers or anything, but they didn't get too diverse with the routes. I will say what I thought was super interesting is that like Hunter Renfrow, he like had his own kind of warm-ups and practices because he was just mainly in the slot. Like I don't think he's going to be moving around from the slot that much. We're not going to see him outside or doing anything like that. He's the slot guy, right? But Davante Adams was in the slot a lot too, doing a lot of option routes. and things from the slot as well. So he was moving around. Devontae Adams he was outside, he was inside, he was everywhere, man. And legit, bro. That's just crazy to watch. Sometimes they're working the other side, and he would just burning people. I mean, literally, Derek Carr could throw to him every single down. So you see what Aaron Rodgers did, because Darren Waller looked really good too. I mean, that's the thing. They all look really good, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy out here, guys. It's just the offensive line. It's gonna be a problem, I think. I don't know. I don't trust Brandon Parker. So I'm gonna keep real with you guys. I feel like that it might be a little bit of a problem, but it was a problem last year. Like, how much of a problem is it? They just got to be average. I mean, just be average. You don't have to be great. With the way this offense looks, they don't have to be great. They just have to be average. That's it. Average. And hopefully they can mix it up and be average, because they were getting their butt kicked today. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. They're getting butt kicked. Max Crosby was whooping people's butts. Man, and he's dominant player. Yeah, Kuntz had a good day. Was there multiple tight end sets? Yes, multiple tight end sets. I saw that too. That's why I saw my Foster Moreau out there. They'd have Waller out wide. They're running him go routes like he's a wide receiver. They're gonna mix it up with him. It was a lot of cool stuff that I saw on offense, man. That offense is looking really good. Let me see. How do you think the O-line is doing? The O-line coach is doing. I think he's doing good with the coaching. There's a lot of discipline, but I still think they're having a lot of mistakes and false starts, because when Mumford did get some of those reps, he had a false start and then he ran a couple laps and he didn't get those reps again. So those reps weren't that much for him bleeding into Leatherwood, but it happened. But it wasn't that much. That's all I'll say. Are there any undrafted guys or rookies that I think are doing good? Sam Webb had a couple of good reps. He's a cornerback, a rookie. He caught my eye with a couple of his reps he had. Thought he had some good reps working at cornerback. And another guy who got a lot of reps after Gillespie kind of didn't practice anymore was Palomalu from USC. Isaiah Palomalu, he was out there a lot. And I mean, a lot, guys. Like, kind of bleeding into, he was getting some kind of, he was out there on Warwick a little bit, a couple of times. So, I mean, people talking about, you're talking about the offensive line getting reps. I mean, I saw Palomalu out there. If I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry. Let's call him Isaiah for now. But he was out there a lot too, man. More than I thought he was going to be out there. I'm like, I kept looking at my sheet. I'm like, who's 40? But they went after him really quick, and he was getting beat in coverage a little bit. So you could tell that he was pretty good. The linebackers look really good, man, in coverage. That's what I said. The defense looked pretty good to me, man. I mean, sometimes when they're actually going, like they did a lot more walkthroughs today. So when they're actually putting it in, man, the defense looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was pretty impressed with how they looked. They're just fast, really fast. Brown had a nice breakup that I saw, really good. I didn't see too much of Darian Butler out there. I was trying to look for him. Nothing that really caught my eye from him, to be honest. Because talking about guys bleeding into the first team reps. That's what I'm talking about. Like Isaiah Palomalu was out there too. He was bleeding into the first team reps. I mean, you could say that maybe Darian Butler was mixing it in, because it's just a lot of really just people just moving around. But there is a certain starting five that was out there. And, Devon Diablo, he looked good. He looked good out there too. I mean, they really didn't get tested that much. But when they did get tested, I mean, they were in the right spots. They played a lot of cover two today. A lot of cover two. So, I mean, I don't know if that was on purpose. They're mixing in the cover two today, but there's a lot of cover two. It was mostly cover two today. Cover two and man. So, I mean, the man reps were really good, but there was a lot of cover two as well, kind of mixing in that zone. So, I mean, they're hitting their zone spots. The only time, like I said, when Derek Carr was quarterback and they were playing cover two, he hit him right up the seam on Moreau. And he hit that over Diablo and before like Abram Moore can get there. But, I mean, that's just kind of, Derek Carr knowing cover two coverages and exactly where to go. But Jayon Brown, yeah, he looked good out there. You can't. There's no pads, so I can't tell run game with the linebackers a little bit, but he looked good in coverage, which is his thing. So I think Brown. The defense looks legit, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Defense does not look bad. It didn't look bad. I'm sure years before they're getting killed, but like Rocky Sin's holding his own against Devontae Adams. Um, I know Frackrell's out. I mean, Keelan Farrell hasn't practiced either. He's been out, and Kuntz been getting a lot of reps. Like I said, Kuntz looked good to me today. He had a couple times where he's getting to the quarterback, and but yeah, I mean, Derek Carr looks sharp. Adams looks sharp. I mean, the offense is legit, man. I don't know how either best to say that. They look legit. I mean, this looks like a good football team. I don't know if, maybe they're not, who knows how that works, Super Bowl, whatever. I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to say that, but they look like a damn good football team to me. We got players everywhere that can play. Man, I was excited to watch what I was watching, to be honest. Even if it wasn't pads or it looked like a lot of depth. It's the only thing is the offensive line, man. And I mean, that's the only real question I really have is how that line looked. Because even if you talk about alignments, like I said, one guy was on the ground without pads, guys. I mean, I don't know who it was. I couldn't really see who did it. I don't know if it was Farrell. I don't want to say who did it, but there was guys on the ground. I thought, like I said, and since it's no pads, I really don't want to say too much about the interior defensive tackles either, but they were pushing the pocket. A lot of those guys were pushing the pocket. Yeah, on the ground. Somebody was on the ground. Yeah, bull rushed. Had to be picked up. I was so mad because I could not see who did it. I couldn't see it. I could not see who knocked him down. I was mad. But I mean, just bull rushed. Man, some guard. I forgot. It was a guard, but he was a backup because it was a guard. It was a guard. How does Zeus look? Even though he just came back, Zook looks fresh. Zeus looks. He had some bursts, man. On some of those power runs he was getting. He didn't get too many carries though. It was a lot. They ran a lot with the guy they just signed, Ossie McNeil. They gave him a lot of work today. And Bolden too. Bolden got a lot of work, but the reps that Zeus did get, man, he looked fresh. He looked really good. Whew, man, it wasn't Parham though. I'll say that it wasn't him. It wasn't him. I'll say that, man. It was I don't know who it was, but he got pummeled. I don't know. I mean, it might have been James. I don't know. Somebody got ran over and put on the ground. But Farrell did get a lot of work with the second team. I'll say the defensive tackle rotation. It was mostly Farrell. Farrell inside. Matthew Butler was working in there, but there's no pads, so it was hard to kind of see exactly what's going on. I mean, but they were pushing the pocket, guys. It was dominance from the defensive line. It didn't matter what was happening. There was pockets were closing quickly on Derek Carr. That's all I'll say. Pockets were closing quickly. Even like they were kind of doing like a walkthrough where they're doing had a lot of noise going and trying to communicate so that just some like road type of stuff, situational stuff, which I think is really cool. Kind of get them ready. I don't know if John Gruden did any of the stuff they were doing, but like they're doing like a loud stadium and they're doing their audibles, practicing like it being loud, doing audibles and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool because that kind of gets you ready for if it's loud and you're in a loud stadium. It's like you're going on the road week one, which I mean it's pretty mostly Raiders fans anyways, but you're gonna go on the road week one. You got or when they go on the road to whatever and it's loud, they're doing a lot of the audibles and stuff with the sound. I thought that was really cool. So no funny moments from McDaniels. It was pretty weak. I mean, it was a slow practice. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. There was some moments of speed if it going like full speed, but it was mostly slow. But it was just cool to kind of get a look of what exactly they're gonna do in some of the plays. I mean, they're running the same Josh McDaniels looks. I mean, Hunter Renfrow had some cool routes. He had this dope route where he came out from the slot. Looks like he was running a wheel route, and then he and of course just uses his his ability, and it became a comeback. So it was like a wheel comeback. Whew, that was nasty. So I mean, there's some kind of the offense is legit. That's what has to be excited, man. It's the offensive line. If they could just have enough time, and I think Derek Carr will be able to get rid of it quickly, and these guys will be able to open quick enough. It's a concern though, man. Iowa defensive end. Is that I know who you're talking about. He wants some reps too as well. I actually did notice him. I mean, because he got a lot more reps today because no Chandler Jones, no Cleveland Farrell, so he did get a lot more reps. His name's Vankelberg or something like that. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is, but he was 54. He actually had some good rushes off the edge, actually, that I noticed. So should we get D4? I don't know. I don't know if they need D4 for right now. I mean, if you have Chandler Jones and Max Crosby to get most of the reps, and then it depends on what they do with Farrell, right? If you have those four, I mean, that can be the rotation. And then, I mean, you might just be getting greedy with D4. And, what has D4 done in the past couple of years? Except be hurt, you know what I mean? So, Luminor is playing tackle. He's playing tackle mostly. But he wasn't working in the first team or anything like that. Yeah. I would say right now that Leatherwood's not. He's not a tackle. He's not a tackle. He's not gonna be the starting tackle. I would say that he's not gonna be the starting tackle. That's what's up about Bilal Nichols. I really didn't notice him that much. I guess the defensive tackles. I guess none of them stand out. Maybe that's what it was. To be honest, none of them really stood out to me that much. But like I said, if there was no pads, But I know they were pushing the pocket though. The pocket was collapsing around this offensive line. So, man, I don't know. All right, man. Any play action? Oh yeah, there's a lot of play action, man. A lot of play action. I mean, Parker does look better. I mean, Parker wasn't getting beat. I'll tell you that. But like I said, there's no pads, so they don't look bad. Anyways, rules. Now, this is a good one. I'm gonna say no because they're mixing it in so much that I would say there's no for real guy. In my opinion, I think the best guy out there besides the main three targets was Tyron Johnson. In my opinion, if I was going to pick a third guy, a third or fourth guy, just going off the practice that I watch and wanting him run his routes and him catch the football and just how he looks, how explosive he looks, man, it's like there's untapped potential there, because he's still younger than all the other guys. All the other guys are kind of retreads. Like I said, Matt Collins dropped a couple passes today, which has always been his problem. Tyron, man, I think he has a shot to kind of win that role. He has a shot. He could take it, So, all right, guys. I get a lot of you guys. I am hungry. I'm basically super dehydrated too. You can already tell. So, Darrell Williams time. Yes, Marcus. Yes, it is Darrell Williams time. But I can't say I don't make the decisions. Yes, it is. But then what happens at guard? Like is Lester Cotton the guard? I don't know. And I'm gonna check out practice tomorrow. Hopefully they have pads on tomorrow, and I get a better idea. Maybe just mainly watch the line tomorrow. Check out what's going on. I was trying to watch the scheme. I'm trying to see what's going on with wide receivers. I'm trying to see what they're trying to do with these guys. So, man, I really hope that they do something, man. I don't know, man. I'm nervous. I was a little bit more confident about the offensive line before I went to the practice, because even because there's no pads, right? It just to see them kind of they're still getting their butts kicked. So I couldn't imagine with pads, right? It's gonna be worse. That's what I was like. One question I see running offense. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a pass first offense, guys. And I'm before I get out here, one thing I would think it's gonna be really up tempo, and maybe they feel like Parker's more conditioned, maybe. Because that's a good point. I did see somebody point that out, but maybe that might be a point because they're moving fast. This is not like we're talking about what we want Derek Carr to do. We want him to be in this no huddle. We would be wanting that. I feel like that's here right now. They were moving fast. Like everything was up tempo. And that's one thing I noticed. So maybe that might have something to do with it. Him not being conditioned enough to do the up-tempo stuff yet. Man, I don't know. But we'll see, guys. We'll see. Summarize your experience, in my opinion. Two things. Let's get a question about two things. I would say two good things from practice. I would say, the offense is awesome. Though, the skill players of this offense is terrific. I will say that. And I also will say, like I said, the secondary, I think they had a lot of depth because one guy that also caught my eye was Crayvon LeBlanc. He caught my eye. He looked good, and he was coming off the edge, blitzing and stuff. And they look good too. So I think I was excited about the defense. I would say two bad things. I would say the offensive line as a whole. I think even if somebody went down, they are in trouble. If somebody goes down, in trouble. All right, in trouble. And I give you guys a little bit of explosive here. Like John Simpson went down, and like it got really quiet. That's what I'll leave you guys. Like when Johnson, it got really quiet. He got back up and he started practicing again. But man, whew, that was a scary moment. That's like, oh no, because then it's like, who's this back up? And then the part hand play is, whew, sheesh. The depth of the offensive line has me scared more than anything. Just the depth of it. Because if people start going down, man. But what am I looking for tomorrow's practice? I'm probably looking at some O-line, man. I'm going to be looking at O-line exclusively. Hopefully they have pads on. And I can see defensive tackles. I can see Neil Farrell. Hopefully they get some more one-on-ones with defensive tackles. Man, I didn't see any of that at practice. So usually you get that. And that's what I wanted to see. I love seeing that too. And hopefully see more from these running backs too, since their pads will be on as well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Man. Man, it was. But appreciate all you guys coming in. Got 117. Appreciate you guys coming through, showing us some love. Make sure you guys support my man Panda Supplements. Discount code TDL for 35% off. Check that out. Like I said, this is a good football team, though, guys. The offensive line, it might be a little bit of an issue, but this is a good football team. That's what I'll say. I'm excited about this football team. Just kind of watching it. I'm still excited about it. But, the offensive line is a problem, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This tape don't lie, right? I'm not going to lie to you guys about that. All right, guys. Like I said, I appreciate you guys listening. If you're new here, it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Oh, there we go. Subscribe. Right? And I'm out, guys. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow.